Okay, I think we are online. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. And welcome back. Um, as we mentioned last week, instead of doing these AMAs fortnightly, I think let's do them every week. Yeah. So, how are you? How's things?
Yeah, good, thanks. Just you know, uh, trying to get the swap, flawless. Few things here and there, but I can see the testing team is performing like rigorous, testing on it, and yeah, I'm pretty confident it's going to be better than before.
Yeah, yeah. And I think today we'll talk a little bit about that swap strategy as well.
Yeah,
So how we
yeah.
are aiming to push those swaps out, right?
Hmm.
Um, okay, so let's start off with the questions. So the first one is by Chaos. That's something I love. Um, so can the team give an answer to the tokenomics change request from the community? Um, so I went through the messages in the space, but I didn't find anything that was a suggestion or a recommendation actually. Anyhow, there was Zila who sent through a document, and in that document, Zila mentions about how can we compensate the public sale investors, number one, and also about the balancer pool, the liquidity rewards. Um, so one of the suggestion in there was um, for the public sale, we should rebrand that, or let's just call it private sale too. And there are two options. The first one is that all the guys who invested in public sale will give them the coins at 10 cents. That's option number one. So that's 1 to 4 basic. And that's the other one is around 12.5 cents, right? So averaging out the price of the coin to 10 cents. And Lionel and I were looking at the Excel sheet today and we are going through some numbers because I do like that suggestion. From the public sale investors' perspective who bought in at 50 cents, I definitely think that we will be doing something there to reduce the average price of purchase of each L1X coin. And after looking at certain numbers, we will get back probably in the next 2 weeks. I don't really have a problem with, so this is what is in my mind right now. So I think we can definitely go for 1 to 4. So basically, for every one L1X coin held, you will get 4 L1X coins if you participated in public sale. But the caveat over there is, it has to come out from somewhere, right? So from my own pool, where my cliff is 12 months and vesting is 36 months, that is something that we can apply to these coins that are going to be going out, so that at least for the next few months, for the next 6 months or so, there is no sell pressure from these coins. Because again, then if the sell pressure, if we increase the selling pressure over there, the price is always going to be low. So we are looking at certain ways, and we will come up with certain options as to what can be done and propose it, to the community. Definitely, I think vesting should be there, 100% cliff and vesting. So we will, get back to the community with this, with few options, because the number two is before I go into the next one and uh, talk about the swap strategy. The other one is the L1X app NFT holders, right? And with the new swap fees and the new swap infrastructure that is going out on Tuesday next week, that is the first version that is going out with the updated infrastructure, we will guarantee any swap that goes through will be done in less than 120 seconds. But if it fails, it will be done in less than 5 minutes. So within 5 minutes, your swap will be completed. And these fees that are generated out of the swap will be distributed to the L1X app NFT holders. right? So basically the NFT tiering system. Now, in order to look at the financial modeling of that, Dr. Neeraj is working on a holistic swap fee comparison. And we are also going to dive into the financial modeling of it as to what kind of fees will be generated out of these, right? And as I mentioned previously, we want to do at least 10 to 15,000 swaps a day, which is not a lot, right? The overall swap market probably would be doing more than 400,000 swaps a day. So how do we enter into that phase? We have a strategy for it. It is a little unique strategy, but I'll get into that. So yes, we are looking at providing or reducing the average price of the L1X coin for public sale investors, number one, and number two, for the app NFT holders. A revenue strategy will be in place once the new swap goes out. And what that strategy is, we will demonstrate or we will go through that in the next AMA. Okay. So the next one is by Skippy. When will we be able to use NFT marketplace for selling and buying nodes? Good question. So three things to that. One is the node NFTs. One is the username NFTs, and the third one is the NFT tier. So the NFT tier is non-transferable. So you can't transfer your NFT tier to someone else. That is unique to you. Uh, with regards to the node NFTs and the username NFTs, we are working with Shuffle apps where they require certain components from us to enable that. Hopefully, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that should go out as well. So you will be able to go in there and buy or sell these NFTs. Um, Quick update on these node NFTs. So previously we were doing around 28,000 blocks. Right now we are doing 41,000 blocks a day. And previously 5 to 6,000 L1X coins a day were being emitted. But now there are around 15,000 L1X coins being emitted to the node operators. And there are around 114 nodes that are currently active. And the next slot is going live as well today. So I know it's a little bit more, but with the new major upgrades coming on to the L1X core, we definitely need the support of the node community, node hosting community. Okay, so the next one, I think, Leono, is yours.
Yeah, it's a question by Matt. Sorry, it's a question by MM21. When will I receive my referral rewards? Um, I take the responsibility. I'm sorry if we haven't replied to you. There might be a high chance it might be like a ticket might be opened under a different category. Please reach out to us on Discord or maybe just open a new ticket under rewards and we'll look into it as soon as possible. Give us 24 hours. Once you raise the ticket, we'll sort it out. Thanks. The next one is by Matt. That's for Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is integration of Bitcoin and Tron already done? Okay. So I do have a couple of points I want to go through, and we'll go through the swap strategy as well, right? um, so Tron integration is completed. Bitcoin integration is in progress. As I mentioned previously, I am the only dev who has to work on the Bitcoin integration, and my time was consumed on making the Xtalk and swap infrastructure robust. Now that is done. So I will pick up the Bitcoin again, and hopefully by the end of October is when we will go out with it. But that also aligns with a few different things that we are releasing for with the objective to increase the number of swaps that will go through on the protocol. So the plan is next week on Tuesday, we will be updating the L1X app swap page where you will be able to swap with the robust infrastructure in place and with the most updated swap pricing, number one. And we invite the community members to come and test it out as well, right? And at the same time, you will have in-depth look as to the whole status of your swaps. That's number one. Post that, we are actually working on the widget structure where you will be able to actually install the widget on your website where you do not need to connect a wallet. Now, the benefit of this is with the swaps, we don't really want to push you connecting wallet and trying to do the swaps. We want to, we want to sell that as a standalone technology. So if you do not need to connect your wallet and perform the swaps, that widget is very seamless to integrate onto any other website. Now, that is the widget that we are actually currently working on. And after we launch it on L1X app, that is the next step that will be used on other websites. So, in effect, what is going to happen over here is that people coming onto L1X app can go and swap definitely, with the robust infrastructure, and after that, swap directly without connecting the wallet. But when we launch without connecting the wallet, eventually there will be a widget as well that other websites can apply. And of course, there will be a commission structure in place based on your widget ID, you know, based on the users on your website going to the widget and doing the swaps. So we've got the swap infrastructure being robust, we've got the swap direct, and then we've got the widget. Now, we've been thinking long and hard, how do we push the swaps out, right? And currently in the market, if I just want to use my phone basically to do, a cross-chain swap, there may be ways to do it, but it is either complex, it is either expensive, or either it is very slow, right? So these three things are a big problem, and eventually you will want to do the swaps on the phone if you need to make a payment to someone, for example, or you want to invest in some launch pads from your device. At this stage, the widget technology on different websites is one way to do that. So you'll be able to go to Google Chrome, of course, participate in there. But we wanted to build something, more accessible, more easier to use. So what we are actually going to do is we are going to build a Telegram bot, right? And the Telegram bot is going to allow you to cross-chain swap, and it is going to be the cost is going to be actually lower than what you are going to see when you connect your wallet. Because when you connect your wallet and you swap, there are 4 to 5 different contracts you interact with. When you try to swap direct, there are only 2 contracts. So the fees is also going to be reduced by swapping directly. So of course, having this on Telegram has its own benefit. It's like the refrigerator and Coca-Cola story, right? Coca-Cola made, you know, their whole business out of refrigerators. So we want to use the current infrastructure of Telegram and make it easier for people to go and do the swaps. Now, um, of course, that's one thing. But how do we push this? Because if we look at it from a very singular perspective, and we know how good our marketing team performed previously, keeping that in mind, we have to make sure that we will increase the number of swaps on an ongoing basis. The the solution to that was, of course, we will we have certain websites that want to put the widget on directly, right? But how do you spam this on Telegram? How do you spam this on Web3, right? One of the things that we are actually going to do is white label the bot. So anyone wanting to start their own business in swaps, it is going to take them less than 1 day to have their own logo on it, start their own Telegram bot, and push it. So in this way, at least what will happen is people who are rebranding their own, Telegram bots can introduce this to their community members. The moderators can introduce it to the community members, and at least even the projects will have at one place that they can send their community members to instead of sending it and losing business anywhere else. So in and again at the same time, previously for the first 50 people we'll keep it free of cost, but later on we will start charging and an installation fee, and we are thinking somewhere around 30 to 35% commission that we will charge, and the remaining fees go to you. So if you start your own business on Telegram, introducing people to the bots, you'll probably be making 60% of the swap fee. So this is one way that we thought it is very accessible on Telegram, and people starting their own business in Web3 can push this directly. And you don't need to have a website. You don't need to push people to the website. It's easier. You send someone a Telegram joining link for your bot. They join and they swap. So that's something that we are actually working upon. Um, and the good thing is we did a lot of swap fee comparison across Stargate Economy, Stargate, Priority, Squid Router, D-Bridge, XSwap Link. There are three, four other ones, which next week we will show you those reports. The funny thing is, D-Bridge is the most expensive one, right? Stargate Economy is cheaper, but it is very time consuming. Our fees are actually going to be close to or less than Stargate. So if you can swap directly at that kind of price where you don't have to connect your wallet, right? Um, you wouldn't need to approve anything. It's more secure because you don't have to go and approve any contract. You don't have to import, your account anywhere. You don't have to submit transactions on third-party websites. Now, when this comes up, there will definitely be issues where people will try to create scammy bots and go inside try to send it across, right? So we have taken that into consideration as well, and there will be an xstop stamp that we will be able to install and verify using the bot. So when you actually will be using the bot, at the back end, there will be a stamp that is created on the blockchain that will verify whether this bot is actually even real or not. So we have taken that into consideration as well. So we are excited with the swap, and this is the whole plan for the coming month, where we want to push the number of swaps that go through. Um, and initially, the fees are going to be very, very low, right? But at the same time, as an LP or a liquidity provider, what will be that you are going to make out of this fees is something that we are concerned about as well. And in the financial modeling that I will go through in the next week, we will have certain numbers based on what is the growth trajectory on the swap we are expecting, what is the fees we will collect as an NFT holder, how much you should get, as a liquidity provider, how much you should get. So next week we will go through those numbers. Yeah, and the testing of the swap this time is done by us directly. So I'm doing this swap test myself and making sure that it is robust enough, so that all your swaps go through. Okay. I think, next one is for you. Any update with
Yeah.
the L bank withdrawals?
Any update with the L Bank withdrawals, Mr. Jason? We are having a chat with the dev team over there. We still need more time. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.
Mhm.
Next is up to you, Kevin.
Yeah. And I see, if you think that Telegram is not a good choice, right? Please give us some suggestion, except the widget on the website, which will go on, right? What other platforms can we use? Like, we are open to suggestions. We think Telegram is good because it's more seamless, more accessible, and nobody's looking at white labeling solutions on these kind of applications for swaps. So again, of course, nobody is even going to do the direct swap in a decentralized perspective and that widget, white labeling of that widget. But having more channels is going to be our IP. Rather than the depth of the swap or the swap value, opening up more channels and the count is what we are focusing on. So if you have any idea based on, if Telegram is not the right way, what other places you use, right? That we can actually integrate this technology, I'll be more than happy to hear that. Okay. The next one is by Ernesto Demiro. Since we have not been able to transfer our L1Xs in L-Bank for more than a month due to system incompatibility, we cannot benefit from the staking opportunity offered by L1X to the L1X project officials have a plan to compensate for the losses we incurred. Yeah, look, I think, I'm a very patient person, but at the same time, I think there are multiple different things that we got to look at as well, because um, right now we are not in the position of doing multiple things, but at the same time we are currently looking at compensating the public sale investors, so that's the focus, right? And once we attend to that, once we come up with a proper solution with a proper framework, we will attend to something like this, because we don't want to create more mess while we go ahead now, right? We want to do it correctly. So as I mentioned previously, if you have any suggestions except Telegram, I'm also happy to hear that out. But at this particular moment, our focus is making sure that the public sale investors are compensated. We launched the swaps, and the core, right, is focused on, and it's being pushed. Okay, so what is the game plan to get more people to use the tech, marketing, partnerships, VCs? So I've gone through this previously as well. As I mentioned to you, we are in the final stages of bringing on Nitin Kaur on board. His lawyer is still looking at the document, and I think, and our plan basically is making sure that the swap technology that we've got, we further build upon it and push that as the utility. Because what's going to happen is the time taken to demonstrate validation, right, is going to be the shortest for us from the swap perspective. So we can definitely onboard, the project onboarding is still in progress, that's not stalled. So we are onboarding those projects, but we need some hardcore utility that demonstrates the technology very well. And at this stage, we think swaps is the only way to do that. If you have some other suggestion, I'm happy to hear that out, right? Swap is the only way to do that at this stage, and that's why we are pushing that. That is going to be our core utility that we take and we go to the VCs, or we go to the funds, or we go to certain institutions that will help us raise more capital and push back into this technology, right? So rather than raising money straight away from the core, we are going to use the swap technology and the growth into it as a driver of raising capital into the protocol. That is the plan that we are actually trying to focus upon. Okay, so the next one is by Ferki. When will the CMC presence finally arrive? The passivity in this case is just too ridiculous. Okay, yeah, I think we have already submitted the documents, and probably in the next week or two, it should be done. But I'm not too sure, why are certain people so hung up on this. We've got bigger problems to worry about for sure, but we are working on that. Yeah, I'll be CMC, like I may be missing something. I want to know more about it, right? Yeah, so Perky, if you would like to get in touch, please let's have a chat. The next one is by Ferki itself. Who was responsible for the airdrop campaign, or is he or she perhaps the company behind still working for LayerOneX? Did Kevin, that's myself, know about the intransparency of the airdrop the whole time, or did he even organize it himself? Okay. The previous operations and marketing team were responsible for the airdrop campaign, right? And they were also responsible to bring on the KOLs on board. I didn't know who actually the KOLs were. And as I mentioned previously, that was a mistake that I made, and I will correct that mistake. So the airdrops and the KOLs were organized by the previous marketing and operations team. I was aware of the airdrop campaign for sure, but I didn't design it. Okay. The next one is, will the nonsensical and overpriced hackathon finally be ended? Are there any plans for a revised version? No plans as of yet, but if we do have any plans for a new hackathon, we will definitely let you guys know. So what will happen to the decks? Have there been any talks between L1X and Zeus recently? If not, what is the plan B regarding the decks? Is there any chance at all for cooperation with L1 decks? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the L1Dex guys are still waiting for the code consensus code to be open source, if I'm not mistaken, which should be anytime soon. And I do believe in the Zeus team, right? Because overall, even all of us working on this wants to see this succeed. So I do believe in them. But at the same time, they are also approaching other dexes out there to participate. Now, our fallback plan basically is L1X app, right? In case the dexes don't take off, L1X app I think is um, you know considered. I mean, it's built with consideration, and pushing the swaps over there is what I think we should do. And this was my recommendation to the Zeus guys as well, which they didn't like it too much. But they wanted to go ahead with the balancer stuff, or the zapping process. But if if I were to do it, I would focus on the swaps. Like, I would just nail that thing down first, right? So yes, we will focus on L1X app. And at the end of the day, like, I do want L1X app to succeed. Like, I want that thing to be the powerhouse in Web3, like the super app. So bringing the swaps in there, the swap direct, right? And the Zeus guys, I completely believe in that team as well. I think they are also doing all they can to push it. Okay. Um, I think I've already answered the LP question last week. Okay, so the next one is by Too Crispy. Could we rebrand this as a beta launch, and once the coding is finished in the new year, have another launch for marketing purpose and get this thing properly launched? I think one of the things that to understand is that as a core protocol, you are always building and improvising it. You can take any protocol out there and see how many times they have gone down, or things have actually not worked. So I don't think the rebranding exercise is going to help at all, right? um, well, I mean, if anything, all I definitely feel that we do have a strong time frame for the mainnet, which we have been on. And with the swaps being coming in and pushing that, providing some kind of utility to the protocol, is something that we should focus upon, rather than going through this whole journey of rebranding and doing all these things again. So previously we did try to focus on too many things. So this time we're pretty certain, okay, we want to focus on one to two things at once, and swaps is what we want to focus on right now. But good suggestion. After what point after the launch didn't things go as planned? Because without awareness and marketing, how did you see this happening? How did you anticipate to happen that did it? Um, I think, you know, um, well, I kind of feel that our public sale, I mean, once the public sale started, we should have only focused on, swaps, or we should have only focused, I mean, we shouldn't have spent on marketing back then and reserved it for now, right? So I definitely feel that a lot of money was spent and resources was spent on the public sale, not on the protocol. There is a difference, right, for the marketing. So that was something that I think went wrong. But anyways, we have pivoted so many times, right, to keep this thing going, because it's a gigantic system, and the whole narrative of interoperability to even be alive, like, so many have even gone out of business, right? Like, you look at the W token, right? The wormhole token has never recovered over the last years upon launch. We launched in May this year. So all of those who are saying, like, for 3 years, 4 years, no, it's not 3 or 4 years, right? It's this year. We haven't even, it's not even 6 months. So that being said, I think we still are focusing on what we need to do to improve the price. And I do believe that, things will improvise. And if it doesn't improvise, we will make it improvise, right? I just wanted to mention one thing on the tweet. So one of the comment, I don't usually, I've stopped replying back to such comments anymore on Twitter. But one of the tweet mentions that, okay, things have 3 years and it has failed and stuff. What I would suggest here is when you're looking at it, there are 10,000, 20,000 projects, and you're comparing it with only five or six that have made it happen. Now, when you made it happen, you were not in that project, right? So when you look at it from the outside perspective, you don't know the cycle of what that project went through. In our case, you see that we are going through this cycle, and we are pushing things to make it happen. So an ambiguous comment without enough market understanding as to why we are at this stage and how to push it from here leads to conversations that I don't want to be a part of. I want to be a part of constructive conversations that's built for the community. So I wanted to clear this out just so that if you don't see my reply back on Twitter anymore to such comments, it's because of that. Okay, so the next one is by Bartolio. Okay. Kevin, is the team selling on Mexi? You said 1 million coins released for completions, etc. But more than this has been already sold and still almost every day 40K dumped by one person. Isn't the team, then who? The team isn't selling the coins. Like the team doesn't even have the coins. And we are monitoring whoever is trying to sell. These are all, either the experts public, or it is, there are bigger investors in public. So, they will get those big number of coins anyways. And these are also bonus coins going out. So the team is not selling the coins, right? And let's also do one more thing. In the next week on the AMA, let's also go through the tokenomics a little bit, right? To see where the coins are positioned and how many more coins are to come out. So next week, we'll just make it like a quant based, AMA. Can we have all the wallets labeled on the Explorer? Yes, I think on the Explorer, if you go in there, you should be able to see all the data. But if specifically, there are these exchange addresses that are like common. So even if you filter according to that, you can see how many coins are being transferred to the exchange. Um, we can definitely work on it, but at this particular moment, the Explorer is being optimized for the swaps and the transactions because you could see it on the phone as well. So that's what we are working on. Okay. Um, from Langers. What highlights can we expect from L1X between now and the end of the year? The online roadmap has not been updated. Yes. Okay. So, what is the latest on Omchain and Turkey? They, as I said, they are independent projects. They're building it independently. They've got their own timeline with things, right? So, I do not know where they are on the development cycle. Um, but in terms of the roadmap, um, if you look at it at this particular stage, raising capital and pumping it in, right? So at least like, $20 million is required to marinate this whole thing, right? But we aren't going to get there without showcasing some kind of hardcore utility either from the projects or we do it ourselves, right? That's what the VCs want. They want to see X number of projects, they want to see X number of transactions, X number of utility or validation going on the protocol. So at this particular stage, we have various ways to do it. But as I mentioned previously, from now until the next 3 to 4 months, our goal is to build the revenue mechanisms up on the protocol from the swaps that are going to happen. And I am very interested to see if anyone has any suggestions on the swaps. Like if Telegram is not the right way, what else, right? So next week, we are pumping in some liquidity into the swaps, and you will be able to go in there and see the difference as well. But we want to innovate on the swaps. We want to push that thing out there so that people using this know more about L1X. And the future plan for that is also where the L1X app NFT holders, like there are, a million NFTs in total in there, plus the queen and the king, of course. Um, but in comparison to how much is coming to the protocol, which is how much the protocol owns currently, that's in the highest number. So all that fees coming into the protocol from the L1X app NFT perspective, we want to go and buy the coins back on the market, right? Apart from the fact that we are trying hard to work with certain funds or VCs to go and buy it back, right? So that is one avenue that we want to focus upon because we know that the swap is our crown jewel. It works perfect. And with the innovation coming into the swap side of things, even if we go after a certain part of the market, we will be fine, right? So pushing the swaps at this particular stage is our, is the priority, and adding Bitcoin in there is also one of the things that is on the list. But yeah, as I mentioned, if you have any other suggestions except Telegram, because I'm trying hard to think, like except the widget on the websites, right, that other exchanges can use and the Telegram bot. The third way is, of course, the APIs that will be made available to projects when they want to use that directly into their, in their product for the swap. But again, at the same time, this is very time consuming. The time taken to like results is a lot. So where we are thinking is that there are so many people on Telegram that when we'll get the security model right. But there are so many people on Telegram that wouldn't mind starting their own swap bot and selling it to their own community if they're going to make something out of it, right? And if the community has a safe place to go and do certain swaps. So that's the whole narrative behind that. Because at this stage, pushing some kind of strong validation is what we want to do. And I'll say it again, we want to push that. Um, yes, iframe on X. I think I thought about that as well. Um, we can definitely do something like that and pin the post. But again, that's like that's very much like an exploration idea. It's not like, okay, let's catch this idea and go behind it. Uh, I was also thinking about WhatsApp, right? Because a lot of people use WhatsApp in Asia. So WhatsApp is one way to do it as well. But again, with WhatsApp, the problem is Meta. They're very stringent on certain things. They might just take it off one day. Uh, it's crazy. So I think Telegram makes sense at this stage. But yeah, if you have any other idea, I'm open to it. Okay, so Dr. Remy is asking how many projects are working with L1X at the moment. So of course there is ZooStex, there is Shuffle Marketplace, there is Galaxia Studios, there is City of Atlantis. Um, so there are these 4 or 5 projects that are currently working with us, and I've got certain calls scheduled again to bring on more projects to go and build with us. But I'm also cautious of my time because at this stage, 80% of my time is taken by the swap side of things. Because until today, the highest or the most used product, even closely associated to the protocol, is the swap. So that's what my focus is on right now. That's what we're trying to do. Um, okay, so one person is saying over here that how about selling the swap as a white label to wallets like MetaMask or Trust Wallet? Yeah, sure. I mean, if that happens, we don't have to worry about anything anymore, right? You can be a part of the aggregator model in MetaMask because MetaMask is an aggregator, right, of the swaps. So one of the strategy definitely that you mentioned is good, which is go and approach the aggregators like Rango Exchange, Squid Router, right? So all these guys can use our tech to do that. But again, this also comes down to the validation on the swap itself because they want to see, okay, how many times you've done it. Because in our case, we will be fastest and the cheapest. Like we will demonstrate it out, right? So yeah, I think approaching the aggregators is one good thing. But at what part in or what time in the plan that should be done, that's something that we need to think about. Rango Exchange will definitely be interested in that because I did see Rango, do see Rango's SDK being updated very regularly, and they keep adding all different type of exchanges out there. So yes, that's a good idea. Okay. Is the L1X team or Kevin going to consider compensation plan for private and public investors suggested in the tokenomics channel? Um, yes, 100%. So we are looking at the public sale right now and trying to bring them down to the average L1X price of 10 cents rather than 50 cents, right? And by the end of this year, we want to push the price of the coin to upwards of 10 cents. So that's what we want to do. Um, and I think 10 cents is a good line, right? It's a good line over there that's for us. Um, yes. So we are thinking on it. And the only thing that I don't want to do is give away too much again. And after 6 months, again, we have that problem that we are trying to face. But definitely, we will work something out for public sale investors to bring their price down 100%. In 2 weeks, we will have something that will bring their price down. Okay, this is a lovely question. How could the whole L1X community help the L1X team to make this project great? Um, I think you guys are already helping out as much as you can. Like I see suggestions coming in and stuff. So that's really helpful. But we don't have a lot of bandwidth to push. So we are pushing with whatever we have. But that is why our whole core is going to be swaps now. And sooner, in the swap side as well, in November or December, tying it up with the point system, right? The more swaps you do, the more points you get from any website, right? Or any where the widget is. And I like the concept of the aggregator. Approaching the aggregators to integrate this with the APIs is definitely good. And I think we'll get started on that. Um, I like that idea. So it's basically free riding on their user base. It's great. Because at the end of the day, if the user selects fastest or cheapest, what other option will they have? From the aggregator when they want to swap. So that's something that is good. The other way I think the community can help is use the swaps when it's out. Like don't use any other swaps. Use the swaps from L1X app that we are releasing out. And the L1X app again has the whole referral system in place. So if you have your referral ID, just push it out there, to the other people. So just push the swaps as much as you can because in my head, I have done certain calculations. And if we can reach to 15,000 swaps a day, and we can consistently do that for 4 months, then even if we don't raise any capital, the fee generated out of that will be enough to push the price of the coin up. So, and I think it'll get more clearer, when we look at the numbers, right? So pushing the swaps and, making sure that swaps work is in our hands completely. And this could be a revenue monster for us. Like this could be something that maybe everything that happened had to unfold to this one thing. So this is definitely something that I am, very much attached to on the swap side, and I want to push this because just to give you an example, we did certain swaps and deep. Let's take D Bank for example. One swap, price of moving from even let's say BNB to Avalanche is like uh, $4, $4.50 per swap, right? And gradually we want to compete with them, but we don't want to keep our swap prices too low. So if somewhere around we could keep it in, initially it's going to be low, but if we can keep it around 25 to 50 cents per swap plus the LP fee associated to it, and we do 15,000 swaps a day, that number is definitely going to help us push the price up because straight away you would be able to buy the L1X coin, a certain part of it on every swap that is happening, right? uh, so yes, that's the plan. Building L1X into a revenue monster is a plan that I want to work on, not depending on any VCs out there, but of course initially making sure that we don't overlook that. That's why bringing Nitin Gaur on as an advisor was something that I was looking forward to. So yes, we will work on that. And with regards to the other chains to be onboarded, now the swap model in itself, if you use the Xtalk infrastructure, other chains can also integrate themselves to it. But we will do it now. And the idea over here was like there are these people that have positioned themselves pretty well. Like Stargate is going behind the cost, DBank is going behind the speed, Squid Router is going behind token permutation and combination availabilities, right? So they have positioned themselves in those places and they are going ahead with that. Now, when it comes to us, I think it should be positioned towards more seamlessness, which is more channels, because we could be cheaper, we could be faster, but until you don't come and use that, you don't know, right? So that's why the Telegram bot was one way of expanding that channel so that people are aware that okay, something like this exists and you can swap straight away, at the lowest price from your device. You can't swap from Target Finance from your device. It's not convenient. And that is why we want to push the revenue. And the goal is to take L1X protocol and its utility around it and focus on revenue. Because I definitely think that that is the only way to sustain what's going to happen in the future, right? Um, and it will definitely help with the capital raise as well. So I'm excited to see liquidity being pumped in next week on the swaps, the swap infrastructure being upgraded. We will create a specific channel on recommendations on swap, because I want to hear your recommendations as to the flow experience on the swap, so specifically on that. And we want to make sure that any swap being done gets done in 120 seconds from the system. And if not, if there is a failback procedure in place that picks up the swap, right, and it will be completed in less than 5 minutes from start to end. So your swap should not take more than that, and that is equal to Stargate's economy model, 5 minutes. So yes, we are working on it, and we are pushing it across. I think Dave Jones is asking a question: what is Nitish's experience in general and potential role within L1X? Yes, good point. So at this particular stage, we have divided the core and the application in a way where it is they're working together, but Nitish mainly handles Nitish is mainly handling the core consensus side and the application team for the swaps at this stage. And Egor, who was the ex-head of Samsung, for Knox Security, he is the main developer now in the consensus side of things. So Nitish is managing or overseeing the core work and hands-on into the application space. So Egor is the hardcore developer within the core, right? Who's going in there and actually writing the code. And in that particular positioning, my job over here is, like, for example, when the Xtalk node and was creating issues with the swap, even the application or the contract side of things were having issues. So I look at the whole thing and I make sure that okay, what is going wrong, how do we restructure this thing out. I get started with that and then I hand it over to these guys to complete the code. So I don't get too much involved in writing code all the time, but I have to make sure that, for example, I'll just give you one small example. So when you're going to do a swap now, from start till the end, where the swap is in the whole life cycle, that is being tracked. And if there is any type of timeout issues, or if the swap has delayed a little bit somewhere, we know what to do next. So building these permutations and combinations based on where the swap is in the whole cycle is a systems level engineering work, and that is what I was working on, and I finished that in the last 2 weeks. Yes, so we are focusing on it, and I think swaps is something that's going to push the protocol up, and I'm excited to push it, because even with no marketing on swaps and with least liquidity. We have done, I think, more than until today. The last number I checked, and correct me, Lionel, if I'm wrong. I think we have done more than 100,000 swaps.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, you know, um, yeah. So thank you to all the community members for like believing in us, and thank you to all those as well who don't believe. I mean, if you're taking your time out and not believing in us, that's belief in itself. So we are happy for that. Yeah, but if you have any anything, any suggestions on the Telegram thing, I'll be more than happy. And I've reached out to Zila to give me his Telegram, and I'll schedule a call with him to go through that plan further and see what we can do there. But yeah, anything on the Telegram side, any suggestions how we can increase the breadth of users coming in for the swaps, I'm very happy to learn about that. Yeah. um, okay, if there are any constructive suggestions, please reach out to us and we will definitely get back to you like Zila did, right? Amazing suggestion, good suggestion there, right? Anything else? Any questions do you see, in the group or in the chat?
No, mostly it was around swap, and no, it was just like agreeing to Telegram idea. That's all.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Good. And there's just one thing that I would like to say over here. And I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page here, right? As the community, and because we are doing this for our community, we are doing this to grow this, right? Even our goal is the same, our vision is the same, mission is the same. We want to grow this. So anyone say, like, I get all these screenshots from Leono, what's happening on Discord certain times, and it definitely bothers the team sometimes, right? For me, um, it's more like I've got a strong heart. Like, I don't really care, but for the team, they do care, so they are working hard. So if you can, and we are happy to get on a call with you and answer your questions as to if you have anything. But by just saying you know things that are not constructive, it's not going to solve our problem. We know there is a problem and we are working on it to solve it, right? And we are going to make it happen. There was a cycle, and the cycle is going to go back up, right? So if you have anything that you would like to say that's constructive, we are more than happy to hear that out, right? And whatever reward we can, we will definitely provide that. And again, thank you for all the support to the community members. I think you guys have been patient and you guys have been great, but we are going to get there, right? We are standing rock solid. We are going to get there. There's no wind that's going to take it out. So thank you for all the support. Yes, if there is nothing else, I think, if you want to say anything, we'll continue with that. Or
Yeah, I just want to conclude like swaps. That's going to be basically like validation to the protocol, because that's when the more traffic will come in. That's when we exactly know like, what's going wrong or what is correct and how we can improve. And of course, like
I think he's stuck. Yeah, it's definitely stuck. Okay, no problem. I think we've answered most of the questions. If there are any, I'm happy to take it in the next AMA. And again, thank you all for all your support. Hang in there. We're going to make it happen, right? We're going to definitely make this happen. Yeah. Leona, I think you got stuck.
yeah, all good.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next AMA.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye.